Sleep has always been our most natural refuge. We lie down, close our eyes, and trust that the night will take care of us. For many years, it truly does. But as time passes, as the body grows wiser and more fragile at the same time, even the way we rest begins to change its meaning. Something as ordinary as the position you choose at night can either soothe your system or quietly place extra strain where it doesn't belong anymore. And the most common example of this is sleeping on the stomach. When you were younger, this might have felt comforting, like curling into a shell against the world. But after 75, this simple habit can shift from harmless to harmful. Think about what happens in that position. The weight of the body presses down into the chest, making it harder for the lungs to expand fully. The spine twists slightly, especially in the neck, and the morning often greets you with stiffness you didn't notice before. It's not that you are weak or that you've done anything wrong. It's simply that your body now speaks in a quieter, more delicate voice, asking you to treat it with new awareness. I once spoke with Maria, a graceful woman of 78, who shared her story with me. For decades, she had only ever fallen asleep on her stomach. It was her comfort, her safe place. But in recent years, she began waking with shallow breaths and a dull ache in her lower back. At first, she thought it was just part of aging. Then, during a routine checkup, her doctor gently explained that stomach sleeping compresses the lungs and puts unnecessary strain on the spine. Maria felt both surprised and relieved. Surprised because something so familiar could cause harm. Relieved because there was something she could actually do about it. Her first step was small. She placed a thin pillow under her pelvis. This reduced the pressure on her lower back. Over time, she began experimenting with turning slightly to the side, supporting herself with another pillow against her chest. Slowly, her nights became softer and her mornings lighter. That's the key here. Small, compassionate adjustments rather than forcing yourself into a completely new habit overnight. If you find yourself on your stomach, don't scold yourself. Instead, ask gently, is this position still serving me, or is my body asking for something kinder? You might try sliding a pillow under your hips or keeping one under your chest to create a sense of support as you transition toward side sleeping. It may take weeks, even months, but remember, time is not your enemy. Time is your ally when you walk with patience. And perhaps this is the deeper reflection aging offers us, that comfort is not always about clinging to what feels familiar. Sometimes it's about listening closely enough to recognize when familiarity has quietly turned into burden. You might not notice the difference in one night, but your heart, your breath, and your spine will thank you over many. And if this touches something in you, if you've felt the quiet ache of mornings that didn't begin as peacefully as you wished, know that you are not alone. Many of us are learning to rest differently now. If you'd like to continue receiving these gentle, practical reminders for caring for your body and spirit, I invite you to subscribe. Together, we can keep finding softer, wiser ways to move through the years. It's interesting how often we're told that lying flat on the back is the ideal way to sleep. Doctors, magazines, even friends sometimes repeat this as though it were a universal truth. And yes, for some people in certain stages of life, it can be a good option. But after 75, the story is not so simple. The body changes, the muscles that once held the airways open aren't as strong, and what seemed harmless in the past can quietly work against you now. When you lie flat on your back without any support, gravity does its work. The tongue and soft tissues in the throat may relax too much, narrowing the airway. Breathing becomes less efficient, and this can lead to shallow rest or even sleep apnea episodes. At the same time, the esophagus is more vulnerable to reflux in this position, as stomach acid can more easily travel upward when the torso is completely flat. And for the spine, especially in the lower back, the lack of support can mean stiffness or pain in the morning. None of this is meant to frighten you, but rather to open your awareness. If you've ever woken with a dry mouth, a sore back, or that uncomfortable heaviness in your chest, your body may already be telling you something. I remember speaking with Edward, who turned 80 last winter. He had always been proud of being a good sleeper, able to fall asleep quickly on his back. But recently, his daughter noticed pauses in his breathing at night, followed by little gasps. Edward himself confessed that he woke up feeling unrefreshed, almost more tired than before he went to bed. After some gentle adjustments suggested by his physician, Edward began propping his head with a supportive pillow and placing a small cushion under his knees. It wasn't a dramatic change, but it transformed his nights. The breathing interruptions became far less frequent, his back felt supported, and his mornings carried a new sense of clarity. That's the beauty of these small steps. You don't need to overhaul everything to find relief. If you are accustomed to lying flat, you might simply experiment with a slight incline for your head. Not a big stack of pillows, which can strain the neck, but a supportive wedge or a well-shaped cushion that lifts you gently. Placing a pillow under the knees can also help maintain the natural curve of your lower back, easing pressure on the spine. It's about finding the balance between comfort and care, between what feels familiar and what truly serves your body now. Have you noticed whether you snore more than you used to, or whether your mornings begin with a bitter taste in the throat? These are not signs of failure or weakness. They are signals, invitations to adjust. And remember, adjustments don't have to be drastic. Often, the smallest change opens the greatest space for relief. Aging, in many ways, is about learning this art of subtlety, discovering how gentle shifts can carry profound effects. If you've read this far, it likely means you are ready to give yourself that kindness, to pay attention to the whispers of your body before they become shouts. And if these reflections resonate with you, if you wish to keep receiving more of these thoughtful, practical insights for your daily well-being, I warmly invite you to subscribe. In doing so, you allow us to walk this path together, gently discovering new ways to rest, breathe, and live with more ease. There is another way of sleeping that seems so natural to many people, especially in later years. Curling tightly on the side, almost in a fetal shape. It feels protective, doesn't it? A way of closing yourself off from the world, of tucking in and holding yourself safe. And yet, this very position, if it becomes too rigid, can place burdens on the body you may not even notice until morning. When the chest is drawn inward and the knees pulled high, breathing becomes shallow. The lungs cannot expand as fully, and over time, this may reduce the depth of your sleep. The heart, pressed gently from the outside, works a little harder. The hips and shoulders, placed under continuous pressure, can wake you with soreness or even numbness in the arms and legs. The truth is, your body at 75 or 80 does not forgive what it once did. Muscle and joint tissues are thinner, circulation is more delicate, and the positions that used to feel cozy now ask too much from the body's structures. This is not a failure, it is simply the way time reshapes the balance between comfort and health. Imagine a flower. When it's too tightly closed, the petals cannot catch the sun. In the same way, when your body curls too tightly, it cannot receive the full nourishment of the night's breath. But this doesn't mean you must abandon the side position altogether. With a few thoughtful adjustments, you can enjoy the familiarity of side sleeping while protecting your body from strain. Place a pillow between your knees to align the hips and reduce stress on the lower back. Use a pillow that supports your head without pushing it too high, keeping your neck in line with the spine. Allow your arms to rest forward, perhaps hugging a soft pillow, so your chest stays gently open. Let your legs curl slightly, but not so tightly that your breathing feels restricted. It's not about sleeping like a soldier, perfectly straight, but about opening your body enough that it feels cared for, not compressed. I once met Helen, a woman of 81, who told me she could only fall asleep when curled almost into a ball. For years, she thought this was the only way her body felt safe. But she began noticing shortness of breath during the night and stiffness in her hips each morning. With encouragement, she began experimenting, first adding a small cushion between her knees, then gradually allowing her chest to open with the support of a pillow she held close. To her surprise, she still felt safe, still felt comforted, but the mornings were no longer filled with pain. Sometimes she laughed and said, "I'm not curled up like a scared cat anymore. I'm just resting like myself." Aging invites us to ask gentle questions. Am I closing myself too tightly, not only in sleep but in life? Am I giving myself enough space to breathe? These questions are not meant to judge, but to guide. Sleep is not only about unconscious rest, it is a mirror of how we relate to ourselves in our most unguarded moments. So tonight, when you lie down, notice how your body settles. If you feel yourself curling too tightly, ask, can I soften just a little? Can I make space for breath, for comfort, for ease? Over time, these small shifts become acts of kindness that ripple through your nights and into your days. Sometimes what we need most are not big theories, but clear, simple steps we can take tonight when the lights go out and the body asks for rest. The truth is, adjusting your sleeping habits does not have to be overwhelming. Small, thoughtful actions can protect your body and ease your nights. The first step is awareness. Before you even lie down, pause for a moment and ask yourself, how did I wake up this morning? Was there tension in the back, heaviness in the chest, or numbness in the arms? These little signals are your body's language. Listening to them is the foundation of wise sleep. The second step is preparation. Arrange your pillows before you lie down, not after. If you prefer the side position, place a pillow between your knees for hip alignment. If you sleep on your back, prepare a small cushion under your knees to release pressure from the spine. If you cannot avoid the stomach, slide a thin pillow beneath your pelvis. Each small adjustment is like leaving a gentle note to your body, I am paying attention. The third step is support. Many people think of pillows only as something under the head, but in truth they are tools to support the whole body. A pillow hugged to the chest can open the lungs. A rolled towel under the lower back can relieve strain. Support means giving your body the structure it needs so that it can finally let go. The fourth step is observation. For a week, notice how you feel each morning. Does a small change bring more ease, or do you still feel discomfort? This is not about judgment, but about curiosity. Your body is like a wise friend who gives feedback, sometimes subtle, sometimes strong. The fifth step is patience. Habits formed over a lifetime don't shift overnight. You may find yourself slipping back into old positions, and that's okay. What matters is not perfection, but persistence. Each time you adjust, you remind yourself, I am choosing care, I am choosing kindness. Let me tell you about Samuel, 82, who once told me he felt powerless against his lifelong habit of curling too tightly on his side. It's just how I've always slept, he said with a sigh. But with guidance, he started small, a pillow between the knees, then another one to hold against his chest. After a month, he realized he no longer woke with hip pain, and his breathing felt freer. His surprise was genuine. I didn't think change was possible at my age, but it was easier than I imagined. What his story teaches us is that change, even late in life, is not about force, but about gentleness. And perhaps that's the wisdom aging offers, to recognize that the softest steps often carry the most lasting results. So tonight, when you prepare for bed, give yourself permission to experiment. Try one small adjustment and see how it feels. In this way, you turn your sleep into a practice of self-care, not just a habit of survival. And isn't that what we all deserve? Rest that heals, not rest that harms. As we come to the heart of this reflection, it's important to remember that none of these adjustments are about fear or about following rigid rules. They are about listening to the body's quiet requests. Stomach sleeping, lying flat on the back without support, curling too tightly on the side, these positions may have carried you through many years, even brought comfort. But as the seasons of life change, the meaning of those positions change too. What once felt harmless may now place pressure where your body can no longer carry it so easily. The wisdom lies not in resisting this truth, but in honoring it. Aging does not take away your strength, it simply asks you to use that strength differently. It invites you to exchange force for awareness, habit for gentleness, old patterns for new forms of care. And isn't that the real gift of growing older? To see that your body is not an obstacle, but a companion, asking only that you walk with it, not against it. I have spoken with so many who carried doubt about making changes. Some feared they were too set in their ways. Others felt guilty for having habits that now caused pain. But what I have witnessed, time and time again, is that the smallest changes bring the deepest relief. A pillow placed just right, a slight shift in posture, a willingness to soften where once you tightened, these become acts of self-compassion that ripple into every part of your life. Rest is not only physical, it is also emotional, spiritual. The way you sleep mirrors the way you hold yourself in the world. When you allow your body more openness, more support, you may find that your days carry more openness and ease as well. So tonight, as you prepare to rest, see if you can meet yourself with patience. Ask, what position truly serves me now? How can I give myself space to breathe, to heal, to be held by the night? In that quiet moment, you are already making the change. And remember, you don't have to do it all at once. One small adjustment, one gentle choice is enough to begin. If these words have spoken to you, if you recognize yourself in them, I warmly invite you to continue walking this path with me. Subscribe, stay connected, and let us keep exploring together how to honor the wisdom of our bodies as the years unfold. And I'd love to hear from you. Which sleep position do you most often find yourself in? And have you noticed it changing with time? Your reflections may be the very encouragement someone else needs to hear.